Okay. Yep, definitely got sound going on there. Alrighty, hello everyone. I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so I've got a few odd jobs to do here this afternoon, so I thought I'd go live and keep up appearances, as they say. So look, I'm just going to get stuck right into it. So had a customer drop off a laptop mid last week, and she said that Windows wouldn't boot anymore, and it was stuck in that good old Windows boot loop where it starts to load, then it says diagnosing your PC, and then it resets and it's got a blue screen and it says Windows did not start correctly, and you click restart and then it just does the same thing again. You get stuck just doing that and again and again and again. So that could usually just be something simple. It could be just a problem with the Windows install itself, just something that you can fix just by reinstalling Windows. However, I started to notice a few weird things when I went to do a fresh install of Windows. The drive wouldn't show up at all in the Windows installation where you select the destination where Windows is going to be installed. Now, the thing is, I thought, okay, sometimes sometimes there's security put on by the manufacturer that sort of locks out the drive. I've seen it a few times, and the only way to get around it is pulling it out and putting it into another PC. And that's what I did. So I opened it up and I tried to pull it out, and I couldn't actually get the drive out. The bolt was stuck in the little offset bolt. So I wasn't going to take the whole freaking thing apart, because just to disassemble and reassemble this to get to the other side of the motherboard there is basically a 20-minute plus job just doing that. So I decided I'll just pull the drive out, but I had to very carefully drill out the screw to release the drive. Now get the drive out. I plug it into my test bench and have a look at it, and it's not showing up in Windows. I open up AOMI, which is some software that lets you do basically whatever you want to a hard drive or a SSD, and I did a full format on it. AOMI did recognize this drive as being plugged in. I did a full format of it, and I still couldn't make a new partition. So that's basically it. This drive is dead at this stage. You can always, the weird thing about SSDs is sometimes they kind of, what's the word for it? They they kind of like start to die, and then plug it in again. Oh, okay, looks like it's going okay now, and then it will actually die. So look, that's done. We're going to put in a 500 gigabyte SSD. So we'll just go and plug that one in there. I've got a little bit of sticky. Alrighty. So like I said, because the bolt was stuck when we took that off, just got to put down a little tiny bit of sticky. It's the big sticky and the little sticky. There we go. Alright, so before we go and put it all back together, we're going to go and attempt just a straight install of Windows. I'll just kind of rest it there like that. Let's get it up on the screen so everyone can see. Plug in like that. I can use the frickin' keyboard. It's fine. Alrighty, power's in over there. Okay. Well, that's a good sign, isn't it? Oh, it's not showing through HDMI. What's going on there? No? Doesn't like it? Well, sorry about that. You can't see what's on the screen yet. Alrighty. So yeah, this should be pretty straightforward unless there is some sort of security on this that we need to bypass. Yes. Oh, mouse pad's not functioning. Why am I not seeing that drive? Okay. Okay, that's pretty weird. So my drive's still not showing up there. So what we'll do is we'll do it on the test bench and we'll migrate it over. Okay, alright, well, you're going to be able to see what's on the screen now. I could probably look up a driver and load up a specific driver for that SSD, but it'll be probably quicker to install it on this, and then it just has to go and update its drivers and whatnot. Okay. Got a couple of people here in the chat. We got Darren. Hey Darren, how you going? Good to have you with us. Make it a bit bigger so I can actually read people's comments. Pete says, hey Tim, good to see you again. And Mad Warrior says, hey, what's up? Good to have you here, guys. So let's work through another riveting PC problem. So yeah, it'll be Windows 11 Home, I'm pretty sure. See, there we go, no problems. Shows up straight away. Yep. So yeah, it's just going to do its thing now. It shouldn't take too long. Alright, so like I said, I'm just gonna install it here, and once it's done with the install, we'll pull it out, we'll put it back in the laptop, boot up, and yeah, we'll go from there. We'll just have to download new drivers and stuff for it. But yes, this little generic SSD here, it's an Intel Optane one. I think they were making NAND flash at some stage, but I don't think it's as good as Micron's or Samsung's. Okay. All right, there we go. Oh. Plug it back in. Is my sticky still gonna hold? Yes. Alrighty. Laptop's not liking that foreignly installed operating system. Damn. We might need to load up a driver or something for it. I know. I think we're good. I think I'm gonna have to do it again and just manually load a driver for that SSD if it's not gonna play nice. Yeah, I'm not feeling very good about this. Yep, it's still having a fucking spack. Random channel says, "Yo, bro, my mighty Marone house life." Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Only, yeah, only I'm gonna have to frickin' start this shit again. Okay, so I'm gonna need a driver. Alrighty. So I'm just here off screen at the moment. I've got to download a driver because I'm going to have to load up a driver manually for this SSD, it seems, because it's not showing up in Windows. I can't even find a specific driver for it. Oh man. Alright, let's let's think. What else can we try? Alrighty, let's try something else. Okay. So before I load it up in the enclosure, this thing here, it's an NVMe slot on a USB cable. I'm gonna try and just do a install over it, since there's actually something on the drive now. Maybe that'll be enough to get us going. These kinds of issues are always fun to work around. No two laptops are the same. No, see, it's just not freaking showing up, is it? I have no idea why. Drive's warm. It's like there's definitely power getting to it. Okay. That's so weird, and now it won't let me delete any partitions on this drive. Doesn't like installing it onto a USB stick. Okay. Alright, if you don't like that. What about booting to the USB stick? You just got to work your way through these problems. I think this is working. Maybe a BIOS update on this thing. That could be part of it. Let's see if we're getting any video. Still not getting any video, eh? That fucking sucks. It's not me, it's the laptop. Bloody hell. They've changed how to bypass the online install for Windows 11. It's now different, so I'm just trying to do this for the first time. Yeah, so in the latest Windows 11 release, they disabled the way that you can bypass the online install. We're still not getting any visual, are we? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to get some updates going on, and we'll get everything all set up right. It's a little bit strange that it didn't frickin' show up again. And it's weird because this drive is also dead. If it's a short or something like that, usually the system won't turn on. You won't be getting much power running through it, but there is definitely power running through this thing. So there is a lot of drivers here. There's probably like there's 29 drivers. So still waiting on graphics drivers. Alright, I think we're still waiting on graphics. It's frustrating how the display output's not working. Alrighty. Still taking its sweet ass time. This is really, really riveting content right now. Next, we've got a power supply that's been sent back as well. This is what's coming up. So the customer actually sent me a power supply and a graphics card. He thought they were both faulty. Now you know what I have. You know what I think about things when a customer thinks two things are faulty. I'm always very skeptical, just due to the statistics on it. So what do we got here? We got an MSI Mag A650BN. It's generally a alright little power supply for what it is. And so I've already tested the graphics card. The graphics card's fine, it's functioning normally. The thing I haven't tested is this. So I'm assuming this will definitely be faulty, because he sent it back in a box from another brand, so I think he's already got a new power supply. But what concerns me is if this power supply has damaged his motherboard, and that's why he thinks his graphics card's dead. And it's not the graphics card, and it's the motherboard. So yeah, that'll be that'll be fun. Okay, so we're nearly done on that. What's going on? I got to be very careful up here because I've got Windows plugged in via an NVMe USB stick. PSU's turned on. That doesn't mean anything. It could die under load. Well, it did at least turn on. Hey, now you can actually see. Alrighty. Let's just go ahead and restart that now. So what we'll do with the power supply there, we're going to test the power supply and the graphics card that came back, because I've already tested the graphics card and I got no reason to think that it's faulty. I did a 4-hour test. Four-hour Valley Extreme test. Yeah, no issues there. It was running superposition, it was running Furmark. It was getting hot, not failing. So if it does start failing when we start playing around with that, we'll have a pretty good idea of what the problem is. Okay. Yep, our mouse pad works. Okay, Moment of truth. Are we nearly there, or do we have another problem to deal with? Haha! I'm clapping for myself. There we go. With the correct drivers and stuff, it was quite easily accessible. There we go. Look at that. And it's reactivated. Yes. Very good. Alrighty, let's just put that date and time back to Australia. $5.20. Sweet. Alrighty, well, that is good to go. We don't have to do any more installing or mucking around with this system. The customer's not too concerned, just uses it, I'm assuming, just for business, and all her stuff's on OneDrive, she says. So there was no data to migrate or anything else random to do. Always so much easier to put them back together than it is to pull them apart. Alright, so which bolts were which? That's going to be fun. There's two different length bolts here. Pretty sure I know what the deal is. Oh, apparently not. What does that other one look like? Ah. It's amazing how one bolt can disguise itself so well on the desk. Really? That's better. Okay, so we've got some sticky rubber bits on the bottom. So that's the annoying thing about laptops, is they normally hide the screws under some of the rubber. So you got to like pull it off and put it back on and all that. That's a little bit annoying sometimes. Pull the whole bit off there. Try not to get it dirty, because then you might have to actually glue it back. And you don't want to have to do that, obviously. Oh. Very good. This piece. Perfect. Awesome. This rubber bit got a little bit stretched. Cool, cool. Sorry, just doing a quick visual inspection to make sure it's all put together properly. And just to confirm and make sure that we're definitely solid, let's just turn it on quickly and make sure we boot up correctly into Windows 11, and it looks like we are. And bang, we're on the desktop. How good's that? Awesome. All right, so that was a bit of a fun one. Oh yes, customer now has twice as much storage, and I think it's probably a little bit faster than the other one as well. Okay, so next on the agenda is the customer with the power supply and graphics card that he said was faulty. And yeah, you all know what I think about stuff like that. I'm very, very skeptical on anyone who thinks they have two problems at the same time with two different bits of computer hardware. There's some exceptions, like damage in a storm or something like that. That can be a legitimate way that more than one thing can sort of die at the same time. However, that's not the norm, right? Normally, if something dies, it's one thing that dies. It's not like two things die at the same time. Like when you deal with tech, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very rarely two things at the same time. You know, if it is like buy a lotto ticket, not quite, but yeah, it's like that. It's insane odds. It's the lotto is still harder to win, but it's still really like low odds that you're gonna have two things die at the same time. So what probably happens is if we let this one, if we run a heap of power through it and get it really hot, it's probably gonna freaking it's probably gonna cut out under load. So let me share the screen there. Oh, I'm not even. Okay. Alrighty, let's. Unfortunately, I don't have a very powerful CPU in here. Where are we? Oh, do not I not have Cinebench on here? Oh. This board doesn't have Wi-Fi. Hopefully the stream's a bit better tonight. Okay. Oh, I want to... Sorry. Alright, well, what we'll do with that, we'll put that one to the side because it's probably going to have to run for a little while before we can make any sort of proper determination as to exactly what the problem is. Okay. Alright, so what have we got next? Oh, that's the customer's USB dongle. Don't lose that. Okay. Alright, so this next one's not really a it's not really a PC that needs repairing. This one is being upgraded. So I hope I remember everything this customer told me. Okay, so we've got a micro ATX board in there. Oh, I'm going to have to stop this customer right there. Stop right there. He wants to move his motherboard into this case, but this is a micro ATX case, and his motherboard is a full-size ATX motherboard. So, that was a short and sweet one, wasn't it? How's it going? Yeah, right. I'm live. Say hello to everyone.
Oh, hello.
That's just Christine, my wife. She's at work, having fun.
Not really. Do you want me to let you go?
Nah. It's all good. We've just been dealing with the laptop. Oh man, you should have seen the laptop. Fuck me dead.
What happened?
I'll summarize exactly what happened. Alright, so you know how the SSD died, I told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to try and install Windows on it, and it Windows still wouldn't recognize the new SSD. So then I went and installed Windows on on another fucking computer, right? Got it all ready, got it just to the setup screen. Then I moved it over back to the laptop, and then the laptops just won't read it. Kept coming up with the inaccessible boot device boot error code from Windows, and I'm like, are you serious? So I'm like, I'm like, I will not be defeated. I will not be defeated. So I put the new SSD in my NVMe enclosure, and then hooked it up to the computer, and then I just booted up off the off the USB stick, and it let me boot properly.
Oh, Jesus.
And then once I was into Windows, then I downloaded all the drivers and stuff, and then it worked perfectly.
Oh, God. I hate laptops. Well, your night sounds more exciting than mine.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if you'd call that exciting. What's happened here? It's like Cinebench and Thermark just stalled on me.
Oh,
What the fuck?
did it get too hot?
No. Yeah, Cinebench is stalled, man.
That's weird.
That is very weird. Have you ever seen Cinebench stall? I know I haven't seen Cinebench stall unless the whole thing crashed.
Maybe there's something else wrong with it.
I think it's this power supply is probably shit itself.
No, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's stalled.
How old is it?
I don't know. Oh no, there goes Cinebench. There it goes again.
I'm gonna go back in 5 minutes. Tea breaks are just not long enough.
Yeah, I know, right?
By the time I get my drink and come upstairs, I've got like 10 minutes.
Well, plugged into a power supply tester, this power supply is fine. So I don't know, we might just do a burn-in on this for several hours to ensure that it's definitely stable, I guess. There's not really much else that you can do when you've got an issue with a power supply and the power supply does actually turn on and boot the system up, because that usually means that you've got some sort of issue that only occurs once it's hot and once it's been running for a while, and so that can make it a little bit more of a fuck around to diagnose. But yeah, I don't have a massively powerful CPU in this computer, so it's not really using too much power there. It's pulling about 170 watts on the graphics card and about 65 on the CPU. Then the motherboard's usually anywhere, depending on the board, anywhere between 60 and 120 watts for the motherboard. So the power supply's at, approx 400 watts. It's 650 watt power supply, so it's like a perfect load for it.
Yeah.
What's going on in the chat? Is that Wraithline? It's Damon. Hey Damon, how you going? Good to have you with us. Alrighty, well.
I better let you go.
Okay, baby.
Alrighty, well, I will see you when I get home.
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, some bad news for one customer. Still up in the air for another customer. The laptop's all sorted. That was a good victory, I think, given the problems. Most people couldn't see it because it wasn't outputting a display, but I just went through it before, right? So, bad SSD, confirmed bad SSD on another system. That's put to bed. I knew that before I even went live today. And all we're meant to do today is just simply plug in a new SSD and frickin' boot Windows. But no, it didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want to do it, then I'll do it on another computer and I'll move the drive over once it's installed. Then it can just update the drivers. No, 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 I didn't like that. So once I'd done that and another system and moved it back over to the laptop, it kept coming up with the inaccessible boot device error message for Windows, the blue screen, the stop code, blah, 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 blah. People send me screenshots of them expecting me to be like, oh, that's this particular problem, in this thing in particular. And it's like, no, 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 no. These are very generic codes to say, like, what type of thing failed. Doesn't tell you what, because the what could be heaps of different things. And in this case, it was just that there was no instructions on the new Windows installation that worked with that laptop, and it just wasn't reading it properly. So what did I do? I'm like, what's the solution here? So I tried booting up with it plugged into this enclosure, and I was like, yeah, let's boot up to the Windows installation USB, and let's just try to do a fresh install of Windows onto this drive. And the Windows installer's like, nah, we cannot install Windows onto a USB device. So I was like, okay, well, fuck you then. Let's just restart it and let's just try to boot off this motherfucking thing. And it booted. Hell yeah, we got into it. There was it's the new version of Windows 11, so there was a different procedure to bypass the online install. So luckily I looked that up because I had a feeling that we were on to the new version. I'd heard that they'd disabled the way that we were doing it before. Stupid Microsoft wants everyone to like make a Microsoft account and be online. That does not work for me and what I do because I set people's PCs up for them. So, you know, when you're doing that, I don't want to muck around with accounts, usernames, and passwords and stuff for customers. Like I tell people, I'm like, if there's a password on it, you put that password there. I don't set a password. If it's asking you for like an administrator password that you don't know, hit enter with a blank password, because that's all I ever do. I leave the security and everything else up to you to set up. It's not my job to do that, because I would then have to keep a vast database of email addresses, usernames, and passwords for every single customer. And then as soon as anyone has a problem, they'll call me for like support on their password, even though they'll have to reset it and do the online thing. So like, yeah, can be a bit of a pain. But yes, this one will just, like I said, we're just going to have to let this one run. It should be fine. And yeah, this one here. Ugh. Who knows? Who knows what this customer will want to do now. Like, I would probably sell and buy new. That's generally the best way to go. People are like, oh, why don't you upgrade and stuff like that? And it's like, yeah, but the problem is when you upgrade, then you've got like a new part and then the rest of your parts are old. And it's more likely going to have sort of stability issues there, mixing new and old hardware together. And also, like, there comes a point where it's sort of better, it makes more economic sense to just sell what you have and put that money towards a new system. Because if you keep holding on to it, by the time it's 8 years old, it's worth like a quarter of what you paid for it. If you sold it in like 3 years, it would be a half to 1.5 times. Sorry, it'd be half to 3/4 of the value of buying it new. So, yeah, yes, it will. If you're looking at the actual dollars, I'm sure you could definitely do something upgrades for less than the cost of a new PC. But you're forgetting that you could have just sold what you had as a complete PC. A complete PC sells more than the individual parts on their own on the used market, just to give you a bit of an idea. So, like I said, you get to a point and it's just like, just sell it, put it into a new system, then your new system, it's all under warranty, all the parts are the same age, and you can just sort of breathe easy that you've got a new system. So that generally makes sense. I guess some people hear it from me and they're like, oh, you're just trying to sell me new PCs and stuff. And it's like, no, not at all. I make money doing an upgrade for you or building you a PC. I'm making money either way. It doesn't bother me. But it's my job to give people good advice when it comes to PCs and, you know, buying and selling and everything like that. I've got to give people advice, like good advice, sound advice, because, you know, at the end of the day, there's a million ways to get ripped off, not in just in PCs, just in anything if you just don't know enough about the subject, you know. So if you people who when you upgrade a PC, what scenarios would you want to upgrade? So a good example of PC upgrades is you buy a PC and say you don't have the money for the system that you really want, but you need something right now. So instead of like being without the system for like 6 to 12 months trying to save up all the money you can to buy it, because you need something right now, you can get something that's a bit lower spec. Maybe something that's got, you know, a decent sized power supply, a decent motherboard, and an okay CPU, and a budget graphics card, right? And just whatever, a small kit of RAM. And then you might just go, okay, over the next 6 months, I'm going to upgrade the RAM, I'm going to upgrade the CPU, I'm going to put in more storage, and then I'm going to save up for a new graphics card. And sort of within that first year of owning the system, you've already made some upgrades and stuff. And because it's all new stuff, you can sell it. You can sell the parts because the parts are new. You can sell them for still 75-80% of what you bought them for new. So most of that money on those parts that you bought to get started, you'll get most of that money back. The key point is how long you've owned the system. Once it becomes an old system, yeah, there's no reason to do that unless you are really strapped for cash, right? Now, if you're in that situation, I would recommend not trying to upgrade with new parts. Try to find some used parts that are older, and try not to spend too much money on anything, and try to do your due diligence. Demand to see the card, you know, if you're buying a graphics card, demand to see it run for an extended period of time. Want it to get hot and run multiple different like benchmarks for you, just to confirm that the card is stable, as much as you can. Same thing for all other parts, because in the used market there's people trying to rip you off all the time, and if you don't ask the right questions and stuff like that, it's just so easy to get ripped off, because things can look awesome, looks brand new, but it's fucked, you know. Inside it, there's something wrong with it. On the outside, it looks great. Oh, sweet. But a little resistor on the motherboard's just like freaking shorted out a little bit. It's fucking burnt a little fucking line into the fucking actual PCB, where the actual graphics card itself, not the cooler and the fans and the plastic and all that other shit that's wrapped around it, just the actual board. Yeah, so you gotta make sure you suss all that out. So the one thing, what some people do is they they buy old tech that is like was high end for the time, and then they try and pair that with modern stuff, and that's fine. Just as long as as long as you understand what you're getting yourself into, because when you play around with old tech and new tech together, you're likely to find random issues and stuff like that. Like you'll be gaming and it'll just stutter for no reason, or it'll like flash a black screen for a second just randomly and shit. These are the sort of random little problems that you can have mixing like bits of tech that really weren't ever meant to go together. Because like if you get an old motherboard, like okay, let's give you an example. So like let's say you found a PC with an i9 9900K. That's the very first i9 K series that they ever bought out. Before that, their top chip was the i7. So that's pretty cool. It's almost like a piece of history, right? So with that, you could plug that in and say plug a 40 series graphics card into it, and that's okay. I'm sure that the chip will be fine running with that card. The problem is that the PCIe generation of the motherboard only goes up to 3 with an i9 9900K, and we're on to PCIe Gen 4 for modern graphics cards. So you have that, it's running in compatibility mode just to start with, and that's never as good as it just running the way that it should. So always keep that sort of stuff in mind. Alrighty, how long have we been going for now? Let's have a look. An hour and a half, that's pretty good. Well, yeah, I have one more PC to go, but it's another power supply. So, yeah, like we've gotta just sit here and wait for it to do its thing. Yeah, I mean the power supply is sort of only just getting warm. Jeez, I hope this guy didn't get ripped off by another business. Happens, man. People take their PCs in locally to get them looked at, and they'll walk out with a new power supply and fucking new this and new that, and then they're like, oh, I got these faulty parts to send back to you for warranty, and it's like this, and I'm just like, no, okay. Especially when it's 2 parts, I'm just like, oh no. Because yeah, some of these places, man, they're fucking they got no honour. Alrighty. Well, look, that's where we'll probably leave it for tonight, I think, because it's going to be pretty boring from here on in. We're just going to be sitting here and watching Furmark and Cinebench do its thing for a few hours. But yes. I don't know, I might have to frickin' give this thing a bigger graphics card or something like that. Run a bit more wattage through it, just to be sure. Because if it passes this, I would like to frickin' double check everything with that. The graphics card is cool. I ran it for fucking like 4 hours plus. No problems at all. So that's fine. and like everything on my test bench is good. Works fine. It's a little bit the board and the CPU's probably a little bit older at this stage. It's a 50 X570 board, and it's just got a Ryzen 5500. So yeah, this CPU only has PCIe 3 as well, but we don't really, we don't care about how stable it is running a particular game. This is for testing purposes only. So I keep the AM4 socket. So I've got a board that takes DDR4 and a board that can test AM4 CPUs as well as motherboards. So it's good to have that. I got an Intel LGA 1700 socket based system as my personal rig right now, and Christine has an AM5 socket platform. So between the test bench, me and Christine, we have the three most common platforms that you find right now for PCs. So too bad if it's some of the older Intel ones, but that's what you get for buying Intel. They change the fucking socket types all the time and shit like that. You need like freaking just to handle the last 10 years. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sockets in 10 years from Intel. AMD's 2. So yeah, that just goes to show, right? Alrighty, well, that's where we'll leave it tonight. So thanks to everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.